Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the North American ESL Pro League. My name is Blue. Joining me here this evening is Mega Man, and we are about to jump into our second best of one now between Winterfox and Splyce. And it might be a bruising one with Splyce just running over Winterfox in the first map they played just a few moments ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you thought that last match was excited, buckle up. This map is a little bit better for Winterfox than Cash, I believe.
Yeah.
However, with that being said, they didn't really show much on Cash at all. That was pretty rough. 16-2. It was was it 13-2 at half, and then just slaughter in the second half. So, not really much life being shown from the Winterfox side. They had a handful of kills, but nothing spectacular to speak of. Splyce, on the other hand, looked very organized in their takes, and depending on how they play this matchup, it could be another landslide.
So to talk about Winterfox in this map, previously, like we talk about some of their performances from the last season, we saw some really good games from them where they were actually showing to be really proficient on the CT side. Specifically, like Lex would be a very good person to hold on to the A site. And then you would mainly leave Anger to do the job of holding onto the B site, and then of course the other three would support whereas needed there. But those were the two big guys to play it out. However, you're not really doing that well on Cash, which tends to be like the playground now for most North American teams. It's obviously a map where you can showcase your individual skill a lot there, and the team doesn't have to be so focused on playing as this big contained one single unit. So now that you're going over to a map that does require that, and your performance was already that poor, all these good things that we've seen in the past from Winterfox may not even apply. All this might just get tossed out the window if we see anything even remotely close to what we just saw on Cash, because that was, as I was saying before, that was just abysmal.
Yeah, and funny statistic is, what was it, a couple seasons ago in the ESCA Invite Division, it was Winterfox when they were actually playing under the guise of Luminosity, and the now current Luminosity when they were playing under their old name when they first came over and were in the Pro League, and they're in Invite, and they faced off on this map, and it went into 5 overtimes. What has happened to Winterfox since then?
A lot of bad things.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because there's...
Well,
I don't understand how they've fallen so much.
If I remember the timeline correctly, they still had NAF on the roster back then. They still had Peter on the roster back then. This was before XP3, and I believe the other addition was Flowsick were added in. And as well, they still had a much bigger sponsor, and just overall were a much better team back then, because of the fact that they had those two players performing pretty well for them. Then unfortunately things didn't really work out all that well, and yeah, they just slowly started to sink more and more over time.
Yeah, now they're at the bottom of the ocean.
I'm trying to remember, I think Devil Walk was... No. Devil Walk was not on the team as of yet.
No, that was the after.
Yeah, that was after that season. That was the season after.
Yeah, they still had NAF on the team. I'm not sure if Peter was still on the squad at the time when that went down. They didn't have Desi either. XP3 was on the team at the time. XP3 has been a core member of this team for a while. It's Desi and Flowsick who are really the newer acquisitions to this squad. But still, I mean, 5 overtimes against a team like the now current Luminosity. Now, granted, Luminosity is a hell of a lot better than they were back then as well. But still, I mean, you're playing a team that ended up, you know, showing their stuff in Pro League. You know, that's one of the big things.
Did they? I think they also had Pitt still with them for that match too. I'm trying to remember the exact timeline as to when the Europeans started like joining the roster. But if I remember correctly, Pitt jumped in for that season, then Devil Walked the season afterwards, and they still had Peter on the team at that time too. So the team that was probably at their height when they had, if I remember correctly, was Peter, Pitt, and NAF now, and then you had, I think the other two were Anger and Lex were the other two core that are still stuck with the roster now. That was probably the highest point for this team as it was, but now, like I said before, everyone's split up onto their different teams and whatnot. The Europeans have gone back to Europe. Devil Walk, I believe, is actually retired, and Pitt's on NIP, so everyone's basically gone like in completely polar different directions, north, south, east, and west. Everywhere people could have gone for this team, like they've gone that way. But unfortunately, those that are still left on Winterfox are still looking to try and reclaim something from back in the summer, and they just haven't been able to find it yet.
Yeah, you're right. This was actually the older iteration of both squads. It was Peter, NAF, Pitt, Lex, and Anger facing off against Bolts, Fur, ZQK, Steel, and Fallen. So they hadn't even brought Cold in. Taco and FNX weren't on the team yet either. But it ended up being Luminosity won that 31-27 in 5 overtimes. So that was a nuts match, but very different roster than what you see now. And that was actually pretty much because Nafly dropped 52 kills in that matchup. So
Yeah.
that was pretty big. But to get back into this one, it is Splyce versus Winterfox. It is on Mirage. They are live into the knife round right now. And they're going to brawl it out here at the A-bomb site to see who gets to start off on that coveted CT side. But with the way, at least, that the last match went, if I'm Splyce, I might just go and opt to go for the terrorist side on this one, because they were just pushing Winterfox all over the map last time.
We'll see on that, because that still might be sort of a bolder assumption to try to make if they start off on T side. Plus CT side too, we didn't really get to see them play it all that much here. Whereas with Winterfox 2, as I mentioned before, their CT side is like miles better. At least when they're having a good day. Their CT side on this map is like miles better than the T side. So just waiting for it to get started. Actually, it looks like you're right. They're gonna give Winterfox a CT side to start off. So that's interesting, considering the factors I've just mentioned. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I mean, they've got to feel confident coming out of a 13-2 half against Winterfox when they were on the when Winterfox was on their CT side on cash. So I think one of the biggest parts about this is Splyce has just been completely in control on the terrorist side. This time around, they're going to get the opportunity to do the same thing. They control the pace of this matchup. And they're probing for information. Desi pushed up here in middle looking for some info, but he's going to be late on this rotation back towards A, and it's going to be Lex at the ticket booth to try to hawk this one down, and he's blind.
Now as the members of Splyce just start to push back in here, they push Winterfox off of it pretty quickly. Desi is going to try to line up a monster flank, but he needs to get into position very quickly. Tossing into Mages onto the site to try and push the Splyce members back, but that's not working. They've done a 2-for-1 trade. Lex managed to find PC, but Professor Chaos took down both XP3 and Lex in the process. Now this flank lens in from Desi. He picks up the first kill there, but now he's regrouped with the rest of his team, and then he grabs the second kill at long range there, shutting down Davey. Abe's going to try to push back in, but he only overexposes himself, leaving him out in the open, and now Jason R trying to hold it, but all three players of Winterfox are just going to push him into a corner. They shut him down, and of course, it's going to be a full 10-second defuse from Anger, but they're going to have plenty of time to grab that. So Winterfox start off strong here for the CT side, much better than the last map, hopefully, and they will pick up a first round.
Yeah, and actually, interestingly enough, that no kits on that defuse. If Jason R was actually on the other side of the ticket booth, maybe he would have been able to delay them a little while longer, and they might not have been able to get to the defuse in time for the full 10 seconds, but nevertheless, you can see they're going straight for the rifles into this one. Now, it's not... I mean, Desi actually got 3 kills and is the one going on the SMG, so he's trying to stockpile as much money. XP3 wants to get an AWP, but he's fully invested here. And they don't have a lot of smokes or flashes to try to stop a push that's going to be coming in, and it's an Armor Tech 9 buy here from the T side.
Smoke's rolling in pretty quickly now from Splyce. Again, just going to go directly for the Executioner still. Jesse placing himself underneath of the platform, and he's just going to wait this one out now, try to get himself in a position to maybe catch some of the players pushing out towards the site. The flash rolls in. They still haven't checked him as of yet. He's still free as a bird sitting here. Finally unleashes, however, Abe with a quick response, shuts down Desi, and then Professor Chaos moving it along with Davey picks up 2 more kills back-to-back. XP3 along with Flowstick are both going to get knocked out of this one. Just down to Lex and Anger. Now Lex is still holding strong for the time being, but Jason R deagles him out of this round. Just like that, Splicer in control. Professor Chaos has a rifle to work with. The bomb goes onto the floor, and Anger is looking for a way outside of jungle.
Throwing a little bit of spam towards Davey. Davey is the high HP right now. He's got to stay alive. Professor Chaos over here by T-Ramp. Bomb is planted pretty much for him, but Davey's just going to play this little shuck and jive, and there's no kit for Anger, so the longer they can delay, the better they're going to be off. And Anger's going to take the fight. He spotted the elbow of Professor Chaos as well, so Professor Chaos has got to hit this shot. He's unfortunately not going to be able to do it, but the time is ticking, and there's the kit. Okay, so that works out in the long run. So Winterfox dodged a bullet there on the back of Anger with a 3K.
Going to be a little bit close here, but should be able to grab it just before the beep. And Winterfox do find their second round, but it's a very messy one. Of course, losing 4 to 5 players, so not really going to be able to build up a whole lot of money off of that one. And Splyce can still be very happy coming off of that round, of course. As well, they can just do the same thing once again while waiting to get into that gun round. And it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do now. Rebuying the Tech 9s and 2 Galeals being brought into this one, too, on a Davey and Jason R. So they want to keep it full throttle to try and shut down Winterfox before they can even get started.
Yeah, and one of the biggest parts about this, too, is just the sole fact that all of these rebuys are so friggin' expensive here for the CT side. I mean, they do pick up FAMASas in an M4 or two, but the big thing about this is the investment on the T side can really wreak some havoc here because, again, they don't have a lot to work with in terms of utility. Lex opens up, but he gets traded immediately by Jason R, and there's a smoke on jungle. There's a gap in it, but one of the players actually sneaks by into the site. There's a smoke on CT, so they're going to get the bomb plant here.
Taking the extra money regardless of the outcome of this round here. Abe picking up a kill over on towards XP3, but Flowstick holding just below the staircase. He holds strong and manages to take down Abe. Now Arya trying to wrap around, but he's found out in the open there by Anger. With Desi picking up one of the last kills here. Anger is going to close things out into Davey. And a much cleaner retake this time for the guys on Winterfox as they hold control of the site. As I said before, they do allow Splyce to get the plant, but considering what they brought, they had to hope they got at least that from this round. But I think they were looking for a lot more this time than 3 out of 5 of the players from Winterfox making it out of the round.
Yeah, and here's the thing, that bomb plant they can buy again this round, so they're going to keep the pressure on Winterfox again this time around. They actually end up getting an AWP as well. Davey's going to have the AWP. And I actually read something, I believe it was Silent, who plays for Energy right now, put a post out there that said that Davey, who is normally the lurker for Splyce, has kind of picked up this primary AWPing role for them now. So it's interesting to see how he's adapted to changing his role a little bit. You saw him AWPing predominantly mostly on Cash as well. Earlier on, but this time around it's going to be a fast push, underpass, and 2 players going to go down early, Abe and Davey. So there's that AWP already on the floor, and now they're going to be able to salvage that if Flowstick wants to pick it up for XP3.
It almost seemed like they didn't really get communicated very well too, but nonetheless, Splyce will look to make up for this now with a quick push up Catwalk. So Chaos is going to be able to eliminate Flowstick, but then we see the AWP coming into play for XP3, picking up 1 kill over here to take down Arya. And now still holding inside of the apartments, not going to give anyone from Splyce access to this. They're all stuck out on the site itself. They're going to try to force the plant here. I'm not sure if XP3 heard it, but it's going to go onto the ground regardless. And Professor Chaos really just acting as a distraction there temporarily to allow Jason R to get the plant. He will succeed in doing this, but the final 2 just get taken down without any remorse at all from Winterfox. And again, it's actually pretty clean here on the CT side. They're going to find a 4th round now.
Yeah, that's big. Now Splyce might actually be kicking themselves for choosing the T side right off the bat on this one, but I definitely can't say that I fault them for it based off of the way that they performed on Cash. But that bomb plant, again, going to enable them to be able to buy up. They're on a 4-round losing streak, so they're going to be able to formit a pretty good buy behind this. You can see pretty good nade kits going behind Jason R, Arya, and Abe. Professor Chaos going to be on the Tech 9 in the smoke, but that's going to be okay. It's going to be an A execution again this round.
Lining it up and looking to move themselves into the site pretty quickly. Winterfox realizing what could be going on here. XP3 after tossing out his initial grenades and whatnot. Gonna fall back towards Ticket here, reapplying the smoke to try and hold them back, and Splyce actually seemed pretty patient about this. They're holding back, they're waiting for any counter aggression to come out from the CTs, but it's not happening. Now it's their time to strike, move into the bomb site, and come the smokes to cover things off. And Winterfox, are they gonna get aggressive, or are they gonna sort of let them in? And they're gonna let them in. However, there's not any smoke or anything covering towards Sandwich, so Lex is gonna be free to peek, but not free to find any kills, as Ari and 2 other players are just going to spray him down for at long range. Ari does take quite a pretty penny of his health away. He's going to be stuck down at 27. Taking a look at the rest of the guys now over here from Splyce. They still have a pretty strong hold, and Winterfox is not really trying to do a whole lot about that yet to try and stop it.
And Molly's going to flush out Jason R, but he gets a nice shot on a Desi, a little parting gift for him. Coming around for the backstab is going to be Davey. There's that lurk roll that we kind of talked about before, and he finishes off the round single-handedly. All 3 kills coming out, 2 headshots. Nicely done from him. He doesn't have the AWP. He goes for that lurk roll, and he plays that role very, very well. We've seen it in the past. He's done pretty much all-encompassing of all the different roles that you could possibly play. We've seen him entry when he was on 3-sup. We've seen him lurk on Splyce. Now the AWP comes out. So a very versatile player in Davey here.
Now that Splyce have gotten themselves onto the board, that was mainly like Winterfox's fault there too. Just to hark back on that for a second, like Winterfox, like I said before, was being really passive about letting Splyce take control of the site. They weren't really trying to take risks on peeking, so unfortunately they sort of let them get full control and let them even get to their post plants to a certain degree too. So without really any of that happening to try and resist it, Splyce just walk all over them in that round. And to start this one off too, some good damage is going to go over towards Professor Chaos. He's going to get dropped down to 21 HP, but none of that's going to be traded back on a Winterfox, who of course had forced up in this round.
Yeah, and one of the crazy things is you can see how that 1 round loss has been so detrimental. That boost up on Catwalk works out well, though. Anger going to be able to open up first blood onto Professor Chaos, so that's a rifle already down on the floor. And what I was saying, you know, even though they had so many players alive in those last couple of gun rounds, they still didn't have enough time to stack up their money. So Flowstick is resigned on a pistol and FAMAS in the hands of Lex. So really tough, and they've only got 2 mollies and 2 flashes. They've got no smokes left in this round.
But now they're going to have to go for the execute here pretty shortly. They're still trying to hold control of middle, but Desi is going to pick up an additional kill on towards Arya. Molly going to get tossed down. Abe's taking some heat from this. And he gets out of it now, but still the team very timid, very scared to move themselves outside of middle just because they don't really have control of anywhere else on this map as of yet. But as time continues to tick lower and lower, they're going to start to have to move just out of the bare necessities. Finally, pushing somebody up through Cat, but he's going to get shut down by XP3. He's holding inside of the site. There is a trade that comes in. Abe, nice headshot tap there, takes down XP3. And with only 15 seconds left on the clock, the final 2 from Splyce are going to attempt to make a push over here towards the A-bomb site. Their initial pot flash misses the connection completely. So Lex peeking out from the T-Ram, finds 1 kill, looking for the second one on the Jason R. He's going to move in now to finish him off, preventing him from getting the plan. And indeed, he shall succeed in doing that now, as we'll be at 5-1. Winterfox striking back after Splyce finds a round.
Yeah, that's good. Preventing the bomb plant there. They're not going to have a lot of utility to work with in this round, but it's going to be another buy up from Splyce. So they know that they've at least done some economical damage, judging by what they had to work with in the last round on the Winterfox side. This time around, XP3 has the op. Lex has an op now as well, and M4 tossed over to Flowsick. And it's going to be a Tech 9, a Deagle, a couple of AKs, and a Galil through this round. So really interesting buyouts going out from the Splyce side, but they're just trying to put the pressure on as much as they possibly can in this first half.
And now Splyce lining up for the push over here, getting ready to move themselves over onto the B-bomb site. Flowsick and Anger. It's mainly just Anger watching this, but the problem is going to be if they all jump outside of apartments here, the 2 guys from Winterfox are going to be completely overexposed, and they don't have anybody really in a quick rotate position. There's some good nades that are actually going to hold them inside of it, and this is now turning out to be a great spot for the guys on Winterfox. Anger and Flowsick up to 1, 2, 3, and now 4 kills that XP3 gets himself just inside of Market. It's just on Davey, and there's nowhere he's going to be able to run. Tries to go outside the apartments, but it's literally going to be a death trap out there. So Flowsick grabs the final kill, and Winterfox hold things quite nicely. Splyce really going to be regretting that decision now to start off here on T-side.
And this is more like the Winterfox that we should be seeing. They've definitely got the talent on their team to be a top contender in the Pro League. It's just that they haven't been able to put it down when they get in the server. And right now they're showing things that they hadn't shown on Cash, you know, the ability to work together as a team. Last map, you saw a lot of individual plays trying to be had, and it ended up backfiring in their face the whole time. And it's interesting to see them being able to hold things together right now after such a tremendous loss on the last map. So this is a nice recovery for them so far.
The big question, at least for me, though, is that if Splyce, through this pause or through some other means throughout this half, start to pick themselves back together, and we see a close contested half around 9-6, even 10-5 or 8-7, then Winterfox jumping onto the T side, like Winterfox are polar opposites on this map between their CT and their T sides, unless there's been improvements over the recent weeks, which, like I said before, judging from that last map, I haven't been really given any reason to believe there has been, but their T side has been abysmal in the past, like extremely basic, very easy to read strats. So Splyce has any intuition whatsoever. They should be able to figure that out and shut things down on the CT side. So Winterfox, they're doing great now, but they need to make sure they hold a great lead heading into the end of this half, as that T side is going to be much, much harder to pick up rounds on.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest parts about it right here, is that they just need to chip things away on the Splyce side, because if they can get up to 5, 6, even 7 rounds on their terrorist side, then we know that Winterfox kind of implode on their T side, and they don't really have too much to work with. So Winterfox trying to make this as expensive and big of a half as they possibly can. But Splyce, if they, like I said, 5 rounds could be enough. 4 rounds could be enough for them. It's just a matter of getting there right now.
But they're going to be taking this pause at a point, of course, where they're not really able to afford anything. So give this a round to sink in, and then we'll execute upon it heading into the 9th round. This time, we're just going to see maybe a couple upgraded pistols. Yes? No? So far, we've only seen 1. Doesn't look like it. Okay, 4 Gawks and a B250 on Professor Cass. Beyond that, 2 smokes. There we go. There's another one that peeks its dirty head out. Davy's going to be the one taking that into the battle. And for the rest of Splyce here now, it's going to be a pretty basic play, as they can't really do anything else with what they're bringing to the table here.
Yeah, this is a bomb plant strategy. They've got 3 smokes to work with, so they're going to try to smoke everything off and push in to get the bomb plant, and that's exactly what they're going to try to do. Nice shots from Jason R, though, gets them an M4 into the round. They're planting behind the smoke, so they've got a man advantage, and they've got the bomb down. Flowsick, though, going to be able to find 1. Lex doubles them. Nice shot. I didn't even see the second person behind him, back by Firebox. And there you go. Anger and XP3 going to finish off the last two, but they got their mission accomplished. They wanted to get that bomb plant, and that was the crucial part of the round.
Yup, so they finished that goal, and like we were saying before, now they go into the next round with a full buy, and hopefully a better strategy here, because Winterfox has been pretty consistent with their ability to hold, and on some of their players, we've been starting to stack up quite a bit of money, too. 7k on the Oppers, Lex and XP3, Lex the secondary Opper, of course, and Anger up at 7.4k. Flowstick will have to rebuy this round, so he's going to lose a lot of his, and Desi, of course, is the player that actually normally finds himself at the front of the battle, so it's not too surprising to see him lower, as he's usually the first guy that ends up getting knocked out, but Splyce with the full buy here, too. They're going to try to test that a little bit, hopefully with some new strats.
Yeah, they've had, you know, basically that timeout plus a round to talk things over, whether or not they want to revamp their strategy a little bit here. And you can see this time around it's going to be Abe down through underpass, but they smoked things up and they pushed up mid. XP3 actually finds Davey early in the round. I didn't see what he had invested into this round, but Jason R goes down as well in the same area. And now Professor Chaos is the top side of mid. He's trying to swing on some of these players, but that pinch in the top side of mid is so strong here from Winterfox that they haven't been able to get any ground just yet.
And this is a problem they got stuck with in the last gun round too, is they kind of got stalled in here in the middle and weren't actually able to get themselves onto a site. But it seems this time, of course, the utility usage is actually way better. Like, they've got Flowstick, and there was someone else here a moment ago too, inside of the window room. They've got these guys boxed in. Lex is going to miss his first shot, and that costs his teammate a life. He is able to catch the trade from behind the box there on Ticket. So he takes down Professor Chaos and leaves it down to only one more player alive here, which is going to be Arya, but he's still finding frags. Manages to take down Flowstick. He's going to choose not to go for the plant, so no extra money coming in for this place, guys. But they will drop 2 out of 5 of the players from Winterfox.
They've got enough to force up again here, but these force buys could be Splyce's downfall at this point. Jason R on the AK, the rest are going to be on Tech 9 and Armor. And 8-1, so at this point they're just thinking, we got to put some rounds on the board before things get too far out of hand. But really, I mean, they've gotten the plants in 5 out of the 9 rounds that have played out so far. And that's a lot of plants coming out in this matchup. It's just been Winterfox's retakes have been on point. So where do they go from there? It's the post-plant game that's really what they're struggling on.
And their Lex picking up a first one, but he's going to get pressured from behind the box. Still holding, though. A second op shot from him to take down PC, but Davey responds, shutting out Desi. Lex is still in this, though. He creeped up to the forward boxes and found Jason R before finally being eliminated by Davey. Anger picks up that kill onto Davey, but then Arya trades it back. However, he can be spotted there, and XP3 is going to grab the final blow in this round. Great plays from Lex. That was that A-site hold that I was talking about before. Very, very strong at it, and especially if he can work this with the op pretty well, too. He's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, he went massive that round, and he actually had $14,000 in bankroll after that round was all said and done, so he's going to have no problem getting back onto the AWP this time around. And little unfortunate again for Splyce. They were a little bit lackadaisical trying to get up there. Their teammates were taking these one-for-one duels, and Lex was just able to capitalize on it, picking them off one at a time. This time around, it looks like they're going to be going for a little bit more of a juke play, maybe throwing things over towards the A bomb site and trying to lurk the bomb in towards B. But this smoke over the top of the B halls, I actually like this. That's a nice smoke. It's going to allow a lot of halls control, and Anger is pushed up all the way behind this. So even with this ruse coming in towards the B bomb or the A bomb site, pardon me, Anger can just sit back and wait for this push to come in at the end.
Arya taking some shots over here at Flowstick, spotting him inside of the window room, but the repeat coming out. Flowstick can't connect the shots very well, so neither one going to find the kill as of yet. They've got Ari down to 33, but inside of the site, there's Abe doing the work. Professor Chaos picking up a shot for himself there with the Tech 9, and Abe just waiting things out. Finds Lex on his repeat from the right side of Ticket, takes him down, and just like that, the entire defense is fallen. And it's going to be on Anger, who will get bunny hop killed by Abe as he jumps back down to CT. I don't even know if he noticed him coming down there. So he's going to leave himself overexposed, and that'll be a very easy final kill for them to grab.
4 frags on the round for Abe, basically doing it himself. And second round on the board for Splyce. They didn't even need to worry about that juke over towards the A bomb site because they ended up getting all of the kills in that area anyway. So they just brought the bomb over in the long run. But cleaned house. Nicely done from Splyce. They get a second round. And now it's going to set things back a little bit here on the Winterfox side. And you can see how aggressive they are this time around at A. They don't want to get stuck behind the smoke, so they're opting to go into positions where they can be in front of them when they bloom.
So now taking a look at how the Execute's going to be rolling in here to the A-bomb site. Winterfox are going for a much tighter grasp on the situation this time, with both Lex and Desi holding very close corners at T-ramp, and this means as well now that XP3 has to be on point shooting down the player that's going to be pushing outside of the Pals. If he misses that shot, then the other two are going to be extremely overexposed, most notably Lex, because he is slightly peeking out from underneath of it now, but even he's getting a little bit timid here too. Now that Splyce aren't going for an execution. Thankfully, XP3 meets his first mark, and now this crossfire becomes even more deadly since they don't have anyone else positioned, but they actually spot this too. They're going to try to toss some grenades over, but it's going to hit XP3, not the player in Sandwich.
Yeah, and XP3 is actually going to take the peek. He wall bangs down another one with a nice headshot. He's going to get a third chance at this, but now they've discovered what's going on. Professor Chaos over the top of Sandwich. Going to get that flying no-scope on the XP3, but it's too little too late. Jason R, your last man standing, 1 versus 3. He's up there in Palace behind the smoke. Does have an AWP, but there's really not a lot that he's going to be able to do with these rifles all convened in one area right now in the A bomb site. So they're actually going on the hunt. Desi's pushed down a ramp, and they might have heard that scope.
Yeah, they know he's up there now. Desi's looking right at his corner, just making sure he didn't work his way outside of there sneakily.
So sneaky.
So Desi creeping around. He might actually just wait for the timer to expire too, but Jason R is starting to move too, and he's made some noise. Oh, Jason R, with the sound knowledge there, shuts down Desi. And it looks like he'll be able to make it out of this round after all.
Wrecked. Let go of his walk key just a little bit too early. That's unfortunate. He would have gotten a free kill out of it. Instead, he dies. So that's a bummer a little bit for Desi, but Winterfox, again, they extend their lead. They reset things a little bit here on the terrorist side. It is still going to be a full buy-up from them. Somehow, Splyce has just been able to consistently buy into these rounds time and time again. This is kind of crazy that they've been able to do this so much.
They're running out of time now, and like I was saying before, we need to see Winterfox get up to around 11 or 12 rounds to really make sure that this half was secure for them. If things on the T side are going to remain difficult for these guys to execute like we've seen in the past, but they're actually showing quite a bit of proficiency now with just getting up to that score that we needed to see. It looks like we may be seeing it now here too. One of the last gun rounds is going to be starting off now. Desi already picking up A. He overexposes himself by staying out in the open there towards T-Ramp, so they're going to be able to eliminate him. But there is a great smoke setup from Splyce, and not just this too, but Arya working his way in. Kills Flosic, who is defending Connector, but he's down to 11 HP, so he can't really push in just as of yet. Lex gets the bomb, still hiding behind Firebox there, shuts down Jason R. 4-on-3 now. Desi finding another one, make that 4-on-2 as Professor Chaos and Dave will be the last two alive. Professor Chaos trying to bounce it back, but again, overexposed for far too long. So Desi's going to be able to find a trade, and it'll all fall to Davey. They know he's jumping outside of the T-Ramp there, so Desi shuts him down, and Winterfox will pick up an 11th round.
Yeah, and this is where it's getting really scary for Splyce now. The mistake of choosing T-side on this map from overconfidence in the last matchup is starting to bite him in the ass. So 11-2, 14th round coming at you guys, and Lex is sitting on lead right now. 13-3-7 is his scoreline as he leads the way for his squad. Anger has only died 3 times.
Yeah, so there's actually a reason for that. It's because he's been it's because where is he actually playing it now?
He's playing. He was playing at B.
So he's always he's like the dedicated B defender for this team. But the problem is Splyce have almost like never pressured B, and when they have, they've been shut down completely. So Anger honestly doesn't even really get to have that much fun because they just don't really press B that much. But there we go. He's gonna get another kill on his record, but also another death as Professor Chaos is going to be able to shut him down. Desi trades that back out by picking one up on a PC, and it's just gonna be down to RA now with 9 HP. He's not even in the site anymore. He's trying to run. But there's not really anywhere that he can run to.
Yeah, not really. They've already pushed Desi up here into mid. He's actually going back towards the A site just in case. Lex rotating back over here towards the top side of mid. Probably going to take a peek out here, but Arya really... I mean, there's nothing really to lose. He's got armor and a Tech 9 and a Molly and a Flash, but at this point, there's not really much to lose. Desi's pushed up into Palace right now. This is a good forward position from him. If Arya tries to get the bomb plane in A, he's going to have a fast rotation to shut that down. And if Arya comes through Palace, which it looks like he's going to do, this should be an easy kill for Desi if he just sits here and holds this angle.
So Arya...
Oh, God, the timing.
Oh, God. Desi's got to check behind him. Yeah, there we go. All right. No NACS spam here.
Woo! Jesus Christ, I thought it was going to happen to him again.
I was about to say, he was taking a little bit too long to actually get through Palace. If he had tried to move a bit more swiftly up to Desi's position, he might have been able to catch him off guard, but that was like 5-6 seconds, so he was bound to check behind him at any moment there, and it happens to be just at the right time. So there is going to be now a 12-2 lead here for Winterfox. And now these guys pushing back in here. They're just going to get aggressive this round, but Abe holds it, picks up the kills on Desi and Lex. And just like that, Splyce have a pretty big advantage in this round.
They have a huge advantage, but XP3, he's trying to do work, but Jason R is going to deny that. The Desert Eagle, Juan D to the face. It's going to take him down. Now coming around from CT spawn. Jason R goes down. Anger's going to find one. Anger's spamming away, looking for a second one. That Molotov should be able to finish off Arya. And he gets himself out of dodge for the time being. But now it's going to be the flank from Flowsick coming around from Palace, but Davey had to have heard this. Davey is actually running all the way back around to flank the flanker.
Flowsick trying to creep his way. I think he did hear Davey, though.
Yeah.
Yep, he knows he's rushing towards him. So he tries to hold his corner with a rifle, but Davey just going to shut him down anyway. And now they've got pretty much full control of the situation. Anger's been making a whole load of noise. They know exactly where he is. Trying to push back up, checking the corners and whatnot. But there we go. Davey just going to roll it from Palace, shut it down, and Splyce finds a third round as we end the half 12-3.
But 3 rounds, is it really going to be enough? I said 5, maybe 4 would be enough for Splyce if Winterfox chokes here on the terrorist side, but 3 rounds? I don't know. Winterfox might just be able to carry this momentum. Now, granted, they did lose 2 of the last 3 rounds in the half, which is pretty big as far as a momentum swing when you're sitting at 11-1 scoreline going into that, or a 12-2 scoreline. So, can Splyce bring it back? It's absolutely possible. Will they? Yet to be determined, but Winterfox, we'll see what they've got here on the T side, and it starts here in the pistol round coming up next.
Yeah, like I said, it's actually, like, the negative things I've been saying about Winterfox's T side, it's actually been a while since I personally, from my recollection, I've been able to watch Winterfox play things, so things could have improved from those last couple of months, but we'll just have to wait and see. And of course, a very important question will be decided here on the pistol round. If they can win this, and they don't have any problems with their anti-ecos, well, then it might not even matter what Splyce can bring to the table, because that would almost put Winterfox immediately up to 15 rounds, and then they just need one more, and the odds are that we're going to see them pick up at least 1 round instead of Splyce getting 12 in a row. But if Splyce gets 12 in a row when Winterfox is already 15 rounds, yeah, that'll trigger me. I'll get mad.
Trigger you, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll have to see what happens going into this pistol round. It does look like we are live right now, but it's just going to be a fast A take from Winterfox, and nobody's home. They do fall back 1 player. That's Abe. That flashbang comes out and obliterates the couple of terrorists that are over there, but it's going to be a retake strategy, but pushing in towards CT. Desi and Anger finding the opening too. Flowsick, the flank in mid. Arya is going to handle that, but now it's going to be a 3-on-4 retake for the CT side of Splyce.
Lex gets a nice angle to Arya, peeks up a little bit too heavily on top of the steps, so he finds the dome to take down there. And Desi looking for another one. They've got Jason Arlo. Desi's going to be able to finish him off. Splyce are getting shut down, and XP3 finds the final kill. Nice, clean take of the A bomb site. And Winterfox are going to find their 13th round, and possibly the match off of just this pistol round victory.
Yeah, that's a huge round for him to win. I mean, we saw what it did for Splyce on Cash against Winterfox when they were up 13-2 going into the second half, and they won pistol round. They were able to just close out the match from there. This is going to give Winterfox an opportunity to go up to 14, maybe 15 rounds before we have a big buy. Granted, Splyce will buy next round regardless, so that's why you see no investment whatsoever from them. They picked up 1 P250, that's it. The rest of them have all saved, so they're going to try to pick up whatever they can into the next round. But XP3 opening up, finding the first kill. It's going to be a push-up from Flowsick. He's going to clear his angle and takes down Arya. So really, no response from these CTs. They still have the P250 in play right now at Professor Chaos, but they should be working that bomb towards B here soon.
So Jason are trying to creep up to the window room there, hoping nobody's going to spot him, but Manger's got eyes on that one. No way you're going to be able to peek out there and remain unscathed. So he'll fall back and group with the rest of his team. They've just gone for the all-in stack here towards the A bomb site now with 3 left alive. But Winterfox have read this, and they're just going to push on towards the B site, which is currently not being defended at all. Jason is still trying to play with the players out over here on the catwalk, but he's lost so much of his HP. Down at 7 now, and Lex is actually going to push him. He doesn't have his gun on initially, but he's able to switch over to it pretty quickly and take him down. And now you're just on Professor Chaos and Abe. They have to try and fall back here, get themselves into safe corners so they can at least try and trade if Winterfox is going to move in. However, there's not really any reason for them to do it because, like I said before, there's no investment, just P250s and a default pistol.
Yeah, that's the big thing right now. They're trying to bait him out. Flowsick is going to take this peek and, hits the midair jumping ump headshot onto Professor Chaos, takes him down. No gun save, no economy going into the next round, and here you go. Here's the investment. Here's where they make their stand. If Splyce is going to get themselves back into this matchup, it has to be right here.
So 4 FAMAS's, Professor Chaos's might be a little bit hard to afford, but he's going to go for it anyway now. Everybody's got armor. However, we are going to see 3 out of 5 of these guys taking it without the helmet, and with there still being another SMG in play, that can impact them pretty heavily, especially if Flex is going to be the one leading the charge. And in they push. Anger picking up 2 kills. Professor Chaos trading out 1. Some assistance is going to be coming in for the CTs back up on Catwalk, which hasn't been here before. And XP3 is actually stuck at top now. He's trying to get some more reinforcements from his team, but they're slowly pushing in. Oh, nice pick from Davey. Shuts down XP3, catches just a glimpse of his head and executes upon it. So now this is going to be down to a 3-on-3. The Winterfox are kind of split up right now. They're going to try to throw a fake using Flowsick to push into the B bomb site, and it's working great too for now. But the guys on Cat are a little bit suspicious.
Yeah, considering he hasn't pushed in and now he's running back, now they know. They have to know that it's coming towards the A bomb site. Both of those players coming in. Professor Chaos is watching for the cross to the site, spots that player in Lex. Surprised that he didn't decide to go for the spam, but he's actually instead going for the fast flank to the top side of the T-spawn. So he might be able to push himself back around. Desi's gotten himself into Palace. This is a position that we saw him play in before.
I think Abe might have just seen him go inside of Palace too. And yep, they're trying to spray away at him as he goes for the peek, but he picks up that first kill on towards Davey. Now Desi trying to hold him between here too. There was a flank lined up for Professor Chaos, but he's gone up towards T-ramp instead. We can see now Abe is trying to push up to the bomb to go for a quick defuse, but there's a molly over it. Not going to be able to execute upon that. Desi picks up a second kill, and now there's just 1 left alive. He's going to get taken down by Desi as well. So Winterfox will get themselves into 15 rounds, and for Splyce, just going for the buy round there, they're not really going to have a really fantastic one, but they have no choice but to force up, of course.
Yep, and this one should be pretty much done here. Now, we've seen teams make a stand with a very limited buy going into, like, their life or death round, which is what this is for Splyce, but that investment's so weak. Arya's got a deagle, CC75 on Jason R, and a pistol in the hands of Abe, a 5.7 to be exact, and he's already down on the dirt. So that early push not going to be fruitful here for the CT side of Splyce, as they're already playing a man down.
And Arya, of course, just going to move back inside of the window room. A little bit of pressure being applied by the guys on Winterfox over here inside of the Cat area, but Anger finally going to meet his demise after getting a 2-for-1 trade there. Davey finding another pickup with his rifle too. He manages to take down Desi, so things are not going to be done just as of yet. The Winterfox have actually committed themselves towards that A bomb site, so they're going to need to stick around here, and Splyce as well, managing to scavenge another rifle. That's going to be on Jason R, and he's got armor to sit behind it too, but Davey still picking up these kills now with that FAMAS, managing to find not 1 more, but 2 more kills here as he takes down XP3. So everything falls to Flowsick if they want to try and end it here. They have not spotted him as of yet, so he's going to try to keep himself sneaky, but Davey peeking out finally. He's going to get taken out, but now Flowsick, he's got to find these final 2 players.
Yeah, there's so much time left for him to work with as well. He saw that flash coming from the jungle side of things, so he's going to go ahead and drop the molly and push behind this. He spots out Arya, takes the fight. He doesn't realize that Jason R is around the corner, but Jason R doesn't spot him just yet, so he works his way back into default at the A bomb site, and now he's going to work on putting that bomb down. He does get the plant, lobs out a nade. It's not going to find the connection. Flowsick, he's still in a position to clutch this, isolates a 1v1. And both players go down, so a 3v1 clutch from Flowsick to shut it down. 16-3 is going to be the final score of this one. So the first match, 16-2 for Splyce. The second match, 16-3 for Winterfox. So very back and forth on 2 different maps.
Yeah, basically extremely back and forth on the 2 different maps. But that was very well handled at the end by Flowsick. At the beginning of his time with this team, a player that I was beginning to doubt would really be able to have a big impact, but he stepped up as of late. We saw it first in the minor, and I think we've been seeing a little bit more of him in these more recent online matches from these guys. So that's a nice clutch from him to be able to end the match there. So both of these teams are going to go 1-for-1 for the night. 1 win, 1 loss, 1 very decisive win, 1 very decisive loss. And that is going to close out our first set for today. The next one should be coming up here in about 20 minutes, and it's going to be Team AGG versus Enemy, now known as Selfless Gaming, but still going by Enemy on the ESL website. So more than likely, we're just going to call them Enemy tonight. So yeah, anything else to say, Mega Man?
I thought we were done.
I kind of wanted you to close it out for me, but
oh, all right. Well, we'll be back, guys. See you in a few.